Good evening, America. It is I. J. Sims the Lion, and we are here Thursday night for another episode of the Book of Man book study, and we doing the way of the superior man. And I want to take a second out this evening to send a shout out to all those folks out there trying to scramble and get them resolutions together. All my weight losers, all my book writers, all my get a new job or get that promotion, get that degree. I don't care what you're trying to do, get a new car, new house. Get to the bag. Make sure them kids acting right at school. Whatever your goal is for this year, we here to support you. Let's get to it. Write them down. Make them resolutions in the goals. Let's make this thing happen. Let's get to it. Doc, what's going on, big brother, on this wonderful Thursday evening?
Man, look, you can't get better intro than that. I'm good to go. I'm good to go. But man, look, I'm just gonna say this. Mr. Help the cover.
Yes,
Look what
sir.
he said. I should be able to get 3 college credits for this study. You agree? Yeah. Because you know
Yeah,
what? Because the doc is here and I'm qualified to give college credits.
there
We can
it
do
is.
that. Oh boy. Man, I'm telling you, this is a big thing. It's a big thing. I'm glad we here doing this. Um, man, think about it. It's been a year we've been studying books
Oh, yeah.
because we
Oh,
started in
yeah.
January.
That's right, man. We been a year studying books, man. We trying to, advance ourselves, trying to get, ourselves and the people around us to read more. Because you and I know, and a lot of the folks that's jumping on and paying attention realize that it's a necessary thing.
Oh,
Every intelligent person I've read, or not intelligent, successful person that I've read, like a biography for or autobiography of, one of the number one things they say is reading.
yeah. And
One number
what's
one
good
thing they say
about it?
led to their success is reading. So this is a proven method of of growth.
Yeah, you got to. And you know what's good about it though is that you might read something today and you might not get the value out of it right now, but it'll come back to
Right.
you.
Yes,
And
sir.
then everything will snap back.
And I
So
think there is a large, not a large, no, there is a difference between knowledge, obtaining knowledge and the actual application of it.
yes.
Um, and I think we all can do a better job of application in our lives and in our studies. But you got to start with the knowledge to even give yourself opportunity
You
to
know
do
what?
the application.
I think my nerds are about to come out. It's like Batman. You know, Batman had that belt that got everything in it.
Yeah.
But without reading these books, your utility belt is empty. You can't
Yep.
solve no crimes
Nope.
because you don't have anything in your utility belt. So you need all of that.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
all right.
And,
Yep.
and
Oh, hold on,
everything
hold
we
on,
read. Oh,
hold on, hold on, hold on.
Now give me my theme music.
there he is. Welcome in the OG.
OG
Back
is
with us
here,
again.
supporter from day one.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
but man, let's go ahead and let me get the housekeeping out of the way, and we can jump in because whew,
Yeah, we at
this
part five now, boy. Part five go in.
man is convicting. All right, real quick. Number one, if you want to interact with us, 2 ways to do that. Drop a comment below, like these gentlemen have that's already in here. Or you can click the link above that you see in the screen that you're watching. Um, and you can come on. If you come on, show your camera so I can see who you are. Once you jump up, you can turn it off and you can say what you got to say. You can stay in or you can jump out, however you want to do that. Also, if you're looking at this on the Book of Man website, on Facebook page, look at the links on there. I got some links that's send you to the YouTube page, so you can go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube page. If you're not a member of the Book of Man group yet, go ahead and click that because we got some big plans coming and y'all want to be a part of this one. I'm talking
Oh yeah.
about, whoo, it's big
We
this
trying to
year.
we trying to do some things this year. We trying to step it up to another level. Those who've been here, man, I appreciate y'all being along for the ride and invite, uh, share, like, subscribe to everything, man. We trying to grow this thing to something bigger and better, and also help as many people as we can. As if you're looking around and you're paying attention, you know that men's health is finally making some headway into the
Yeah.
public sector. And we want to keep ourselves at the forefront of that and keep working towards the growth of ourselves and the men in our group.
That's right. So, man, let's go ahead and jump in this thing. All right, we're in part 5 now. Part 5, we done been through 1 through 4, and it
Yes.
builds up. I mean, each part build upon the one before it. This one, Your Dark Side, is the title of part 5.
Yeah.
Um, and
Very
everybody
interesting
have
title
one.
for part 5. Yeah.
Everybody have one. And when he start breaking it down, it makes sense. It makes sense what he's saying. So this one, the first part, chapter 35, you are always searching for freedom. Um, and basically what he said is that the essential masculine ecstasy is in the moment of release from constraint. And then he said the masculine is always seeking release from constraint into freedom. The feminine often doesn't understand masculine ways and needs.
I think when I first read this and
Hmm.
he explained what that freedom was, I thought of he explained what it's like for men and what it's like for women. And I tried to think of what would be the most relatable thing for men and women. And one of the things I could think of is that 459.
Okay.
When you at the job and it took over the 459, tick the 5 o'clock, boy, freedom. And that feeling right then, that moment when it's
uh,
time to get up out of there, I feel like men and women can both relate
mm.
there to the kind of freedom we as men are looking for.
Man, but you know the part that got me, he talked about I related it to a yin and yang.
Yeah,
He said men, we want to get rid of stuff. We want to pour out.
right,
Women want to fill up and take in.
right.
So you hook up with the right one who can fill up what you pouring out, y'all good to go.
Yeah, yeah. And
But
that's
oh, go ahead.
that's probably why you get women who often say things like, "I want to be with somebody that's gonna pour into me."
Uh-huh.
You hear women say stuff like that often, and it's one of those things that we as men have to work on because sometimes we pour into them, but they want to be poured. It's not what they want poured into them.
Right.
You know,
And one might not be the right one. I just
right?
talked to my daughter um about, and I talked to my wife about this. I told them, remember it was a show used to come on called the Antique Road Show.
Mm-hmm.
And what the show was, if you don't remember, people would find stuff in their attics or whatever old stuff and bring it to these people, and the folks would look at it and say, "Oh yeah, this is worth $1 million, or it's worth nothing." What I told her is that she is the treasure. She is the antique. My wife is the antique. And you're bringing it to the person, and everybody passed over it because they didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody passed. They did not know. They didn't know that was a vintage Optimus Prime toy. They just thought it was some junk. But then when the right person find it and they know what it is, then they know it's a treasure and they value it like that. And that's
Right.
how people are. People are just like treasures like that. Um,
Okay.
and what we
Well, I
have to
mean,
do is work on ourselves to, one, be able to be prepared for when we find that treasure, both men and women, but also to make sure that we are a treasure to both men and women.
and I think that right there is the biggest crux for men in
Hmm.
relationships. We don't consider ourselves enough of a treasure.
Hmm.
And when you don't value yourself enough, it's easy to not value other things
That's right.
the way it should be. So I
That's
think
right.
that's something like like this group and just men talking and getting together is something that we really need to work on being valuing ourselves more.
Right. Um, so look at what he's talking about in the book. Now he does, he kind of relates everything to sex, and it's kind of like that's a universal language a lot of people speak.
Right, right.
But he's talking about how we go through life always building up this tension, working toward the point where we can just let it go. We go to work every day so we can get paid on Friday.
Yeah.
That's the thing that drives you forward. He also talked about football, how we like football. You know, it's always a fight to get from one end zone to the other. It's the,
Right.
the fight, the battle. and we celebrate when they cross the goal line and they can release the ball. But think about it now. When you're offense, you have possession of the ball.
Right.
Once you score, you release that
Yeah.
and give it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So everything we do is that build up and giving away.
Well, I look when he made the football analogy. I said what we call it breaking the plane. Like
Okay.
when you try to score, it is on the ball just has to break the plane because
Mm-hmm.
you're breaking through, almost like it's a invisible barrier right there in front of that end zone, and you just gotta break it just a little bit to accomplish your goal.
Yeah, I said something to a friend of mine a couple of years ago, and I had came across it in some reading, and also just in my own thing. And it's like every man need a battle to fight.
Yeah.
Every man needs a battle to fight. And he talks about it here. And the part that hit me is he says that let's see if I can find it. Because he said like some men have a physical battle, some men search for intellectual battles, all that kind of stuff. And everybody need a bat. That's how we feel alive.
Right.
Cause I'm like, that's what got me last time. When I graduated school before and I sat there, I felt dead because I wasn't doing anything. So I
Mm.
went back again and I woke up. So we all need that battle to fight. OG said most men value themselves, but not all of the time. We do in certain situations when we have to, or at least I do.
And I think that's true for a lot of men. I think the biggest issue for most men and for myself at times throughout my life is what we use to give ourselves value.
Mhm.
We don't walk around with a natural inherent sense of value for ourselves until we get that job,
Yeah,
make that amount of money, buy that car, buy that house. We Our value in ourselves come from our accomplishments, which is why, like Doc said, he constantly have to have something to fight for because he needs that next accomplishment to reestablish his value.
but I'm about to put it on y'all for real though. For me personally, I know it's probably a lot of other people like me too. It's not about the accomplishments because the accomplishments are meaningless. I told someone what I did is meaningless. It don't mean anything. It's just something that I did. I know ain't many people say, "Oh yeah, they got a doctorate and they did all this stuff," but to me, it's just something I did. It's nothing. Um, and that's what I'm trying to learn how to value myself as I've done things and they are important.
Yeah,
And I've done things and it's things that many people can't do. And I want to stop myself from downplaying who I am, not to suit somebody else, but because of me. And
right.
I know I'm not the only one that do it. I know
And
for a fact.
you absolutely correct. And I think these are all things we have to work on, especially when you apply to this chapter that we always searching for this freedom. Um, because, like you say, you accomplish a goal and you immediately it doesn't have the value it had while you were on your way to it.
Exactly. Um,
So I think that's true to a certain extent,
mm,
but I think we have to work on being able to say, I did this.
yes.
Looking back at ourselves and being proud of ourselves for the things we've done, or in some cases, the things we didn't do.
Mhm. Take time to look over your shoulder and see the trail that you walked.
Right. See where you
Um,
came from to where you are. And sometimes when I get down about my current situation or the current thing I'm looking at,
mhm.
you know, I look back and I don't have to look back too far to where I was and just be thankful that I'm not there and I feel a lot better about whatever I got going on in that moment.
Yeah, we got to take time to be thankful for all the small things. I was
Right.
just telling my wife and kids, I was like, I thank the Lord. I'm thankful that I'm able to, you know, get a vehicle and put us all in it and drive somewhere else just to go to Bucky's. It's- we went to a whole nother state just to go to Bucky's, but we can do that. And
We
I
can
mean,
do
so I'm
that.
thankful for that. Now, OG said, you're really humble, and that's something I'm struggling with. I actually did a whole study on this thing, a whole biblical study about humbleness and pride and where one stops and where they begin, because too much humbleness can damage you, but too much pride can damage you also.
Right.
I'm gonna put that out. I'm gonna put it out so y'all can y'all can see the stuff that I discovered and found out. But look at this. He says in this book, this is the part that got me. He said, men are really, I mean, you're familiar with the darker aspects of masculine desire for freedom. And he called it dark, that we fight and do stuff for it. But,
Right.
and this is the part that got me, because I know that this is true. At least it's true for me. That we like men being at their edge, giving it all they've got up against death itself, motivated by a higher cause. And that what evokes an intense emotion in men.
Yeah. When I read that, the first thing I thought of was a Vince Lombardi quote.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Lombardi's quote says, "It is any man's finest hour when he lies on the field of battle, exhausted, victorious."
Yes.
You know, that is a quote that immediately came to my mind. That's, that is an expression of, I've given everything I had to accomplish this goal. I accomplished it. I may be exhausted, but this is my moment. You know,
Yeah.
and I think to me that was the first thing that came to my mind when I read this section.
See, what I thought about, I'm gonna put my nerd hat on right here. Dragon Ball Z.
Uh huh.
Vegeta is this. And every time we talk about saying pride, and I
Right.
hear that, and I'd be like, wow, yeah, because he's like, I'm me,
Right.
and you can't beat me because I'm me. This is
Right.
who I am. I can do this because I am this. Um, so I mean, I kind of see it as the same way, but the same thing that attract us to that. Um, Now he also talks about it here. Now, this is the big part. This is the big part, because this is convicting for me. The same capacity to face death, because he calls that facing death. Like every time we work toward that release of friction, the release of pressure, that's when we die. That's what
Hmm.
he calling death, because we die, and then we fight another battle. We are reborn again. But he said the capacity to face death is necessary for spiritual freedom, and you must be willing to face your fears and let go of anything that limits your love. So face your fears. But what is a fear? Now he talks about that because it's different for different people. When
Absolutely.
when we hear face your fears, most of us always think about physical things. Another man or a situation. But what happens when that fear is you and it's inside of you? And look what he said. The attachment to comfort and security is what limits most men in their capacity to make a spiritual touchdown. So let's ruminate on that for a second.
Mm.
Comfort and security. You
Yeah.
scared to let go.
Yep. Scared to take a risk.
You scared to embrace change because we want things to be how it was and want things to say the same. I'm a creature of habit. I like
Right.
things to be the same. I eat the same thing every day. I'll, drive the same route every day because I'm good with that. I don't like change like that. But what he's saying is that's the thing that's limiting me, is escaping change.
Mm.
And I know other people go through the same thing too, because we want to hold on to what was. It's kind of like Al Bundy. Al Bundy. Right now, I think we probably about the age Al Bundy was in the TV show. but
Yeah. Yeah.
but he
Still like,
held on to the high
yeah.
school record 20 years
Four, tou-
ago.
4 touchdowns in one game. Whole high football.
But I'm gonna go back and watch that, because Al Bundy, the older I get,
The
the
more you can
more he
relate.
starting to make sense.
I think for me on this, that being afraid to get that last little bit, to take that risk. is a major
Don't
issue.
say that.
It's
Yeah.
it's a major issue for a lot of us because in some cases we work very hard to get to a level of comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm here, I know it's something else out there, but can I risk for myself and for my family the level of comfort we've reached? Especially with some of us who, you know, we've had some guys come on here like Julio and tell his story about
Yeah.
how and where his family was at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So you take
Oh,
somebody like that who worked very hard to get his family to the point where they are now,
it's
they
already
not thinking
changed.
about going
Yep.
back.
But then go back earlier this year. Now I may have to repost this when we interview Frank.
Yep.
He is he exemplifies this. If you don't know Frank, or maybe you do, I'll probably repost the episode again in the group so you can watch it. But Frank was stricken with MS and he had to change. His
Yep.
body was rebelling against him. He couldn't drive the trucks anymore. He couldn't do, his wife had to help him do everything. So he had to change and he had to
Yep.
let go of that comfort and security and embrace something new. And that's what this is talking about. He says something here. Hold on, where is that? Oh, few men ever release themselves enough to relax in this depth of freedom. And what kind of freedom we talking about? The freedom where those small deaths don't matter anymore. You're not working toward that.
Right.
You have a bigger purpose and a bigger goal than I just got to make it to Friday. Because
Yep.
that's what a lot of us do. I just got to make it to Friday. What kind
Yeah.
of life is that you living and you just trying to live life one Friday at a time?
And there's a lot of people that do that. All they want to do is make it to Friday, go out and drink and lay up for the weekend, and that's it.
But then he also says now, few men ever release themselves enough to relax in the depth of freedom. We said that to be able to stop fighting the wars and start basing yourself off that battle. But he says because they're absolutely afraid of no stress.
Mm.
They're afraid of being useless.
Yep.
I know I am. So Jamel said a lot of men can't handle going back. Look how many respond to market crashes and big
Yeah.
events. Mhm.
Yep.
They can't. Um, but he says that no stress means no thoughts, no sense of protected self, no mission to accomplish. The end of the masculine game. No mission to accomplish.
That's why we always find new stuff. Why we always, like you said, you made that big accomplishment, and immediately you felt great, and then immediately you felt unfulfilled because you didn't have another battle to fight.
Another battle to fight.
Had to restore had to put yourself back in the masculine game.
Yeah. Oh man, that's big. That's wow. You just blew my mind just then. Because that's what he's saying. So when you achieve that goal to get to that spot, you take yourself out of the masculine game and
Right.
we try to search for a way to put ourselves back in it so we can keep going.
Right.
Wow. I think that's how we got here.
Yep.
That's how we got here.
Definitely how we got here. Got to
That's
put
how we
yourself
got
back in the
here.
masculine game and get back at it and go again. Especially when you get to that point in your life where the small releases don't really do anything, don't do as much for you anymore. Like, you
No,
know, the sex doesn't give you that same, just getting a paycheck.
hmm
Now things that are going to give you that release have gotten so much bigger,
Yeah.
and you have to really put together a plan on how to get them.
So look at this. And this goes with exactly what you're saying. But you look at older culture, you propose your purpose, then becoming teaching the next generation of masculine men.
It
I'm glad
can.
he said that
It
because
can.
he's talking about, he says what? A transcendence of the fear of death. Transcend. So you are embracing something that's bigger than you. That's it. That
Yep.
is it. So I mean, I think what I'm getting out of that, because there's one more part I want to talk about and we can move on. What I'm getting out of that though is that we got to learn to let go.
Mm.
And instead of fighting a bunch of small battles, just one big one that lasts your whole life.
Well,
That's your
yes,
purpose.
I think about the word commencement,
Mm-hmm.
which is the end of one thing and the beginning of another.
Mm-hmm.
We have to quit looking at everything we endeavor in as this is the beginning, this is the end. No, this is the commencement to the next thing. You finish this, you got the degree, but now let's get the job behind the degree.
Mm-hmm.
You you got the car, but now we got to pay it off.
Yeah.
You know, you got the house, but now we got to see how we can use it to make money.
Mm-hmm.
We gonna rent it, we gonna flip it, we gonna rent it, or whatever we're gonna do. And I think we need to start thinking in terms of commencement and not in terms of completion
So, and yeah, I like that. I like that. So you're just kind of graduating to the next thing.
to the next thing.
And you just
You know,
moving on to that. Man, oh, I tell you, boy, our idea we discussed before we came on goes right into what you were saying.
yes, sir.
We got a big one. We got people on here, so yep, y'all stay tuned for that. We'll tell you at the end. But Fritz says stress exists, so you appreciate your accomplishments of overcoming it or otherwise, and you can use
True.
stress that way. Yeah,
Yep.
because it feels good to conquer something.
Yes.
Um, but here's the thing here, and he talks about how women are in relation to the same thing. Well, hold on. Before I start, let's go back to how this is the dark side. And the reason why it's dark is because we keep seeking that death over and
Hmm.
over and over and over again, and we never stop. And what he's saying is you will never stop because you're gonna keep seeking it. You'll seek something. So if you know that's in you to keep seeking that, fine, you determine what battle you're gonna fight. Just make it a worthy one.
Hmm.
But what he was saying here about feminine, the feminine, on the other hand, is not seeking freedom. So they're not like us, where we trying to break free or something. We put ourselves in a bind so we can break free. Put ourselves in a bind so we can break free. Take on challenges and take on stress so we can dump it off and say we successful. That's not them. He said the feminine, on the other hand, is not seeking freedom, but love. A woman's bliss is not in emptiness because when we break free of stuff, we empty out.
Hmm.
We give our all. Just like you said, when you then laid it all down and you exhausted and tired and you laid down, but you conquered it. You gave out everything. So we want to pour it out. But her, it said, but in fullness. So hers means not a release, but a surrender to take in.
Hmm.
The feminine seeks fullness and abhors emptiness. A man wants to empty, the woman wants to fill.
Yep.
And that's the difference. And I think that what happens is, I think sometimes people from opposite roles try to do the opposite things.
Yes.
And it's things that have been lost. I know we're talking about men, so I'm going to keep it on men, like young men. And they don't have the desire to empty themselves.
Mm.
You know, they don't have the desire all right. I,
They
I
don't
was
have the desire
talking,
to push themselves. They they,
yes.
they, they, they don't have the desire. I know just because I saw this just recently with my son's football team.
Go ahead, say it.
Yeah. There was a lot of little boys on that team that was just like afraid to push their body.
Yeah.
They just like they never seemed like they were going full speed. Like they were going it's like almost like they said, if I don't ever go as hard as I can go, if I'm not successful, I can always I didn't try that hard.
Look, I'm gonna tell you what, this had backfired on me. I told my son, I said, you know what? You hadn't even tried your best yet. Because everything come easy to him, like especially, academic things. The boy's brilliant. Like, I feel dumb sometimes. I can't show him that, but I'm wiser than him, so I'm all right. But I even told him, I said, you never even ran as fast as you can run. You ain't never ran at full speed. So now that I told him he need to try hard at everything he do. You,
Right.
I said, well, you need to make it to where you, when you walk in the room, everybody be like, oh crap, there he go again.
Yep.
Every place you go. And unfortunately, that's what he has done. Fortunately, like, there you go. So, but I mean, like, we have to encourage our young men to try to empty themselves.
Yeah.
Give it all you got. And the joker's scared. But this chapter right here, the dark energy has been snuffed out. They don't
Yeah.
seek it. So the question is, how do we help them to seek it? Because it's not just them, not just the young men. It's some of our old heads too.
Yeah.
There's some dudes, some gray in their beards doing the same thing.
Yeah. I think for
On the
a lot
room.
of the young men, it's about helping them. One, they need to see it. They need
Mm-hmm.
to see older men go after some things. And two, it's about helping them. You know, our boys are coddled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to get them. We got to get them out of that.
Yeah.
We got to, hey, we got to tell the woman, pop your titty out his mouth and let I got it from here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not it's not enough of us actively in the lives of these young men to show them the difference. The biggest, we just got to be more active in the lives of these young men to show them
Um,
they got to go hard for some things.
yeah,
Nothing easy, and nothing coming easy.
because you can't tell me it ain't no feeling that when you then went hard as you can at anything and you
Right.
finally conquer it, and it's like,
Even
you feel good
even if
about it.
even if you go as hard as you can at something and you don't make it, at least you don't have that regret.
No. Could
You
you
know,
just
you can say there's it's a movie called Friday Night Lights with
yeah.
Coach Gary Gaines. He says he defines perfect as if you can look your family and your friends and your loved ones in the face with love in your heart, with joy in your heart,
Mm.
and can say that there was nothing else you could have done. You did everything you could have done to accomplish that goal or do this thing. There's nothing else you could have done. If you can do that, you're perfect. And we got to
Man,
teach our young people about being perfect.
you got to try. Now
Yeah,
look at this. He says this, and watch how this connect to what we was talking about. He talks more about the women. When she does not feel full of love, she seeks to fill herself with ice cream, chocolate, conversation, shopping. They do more things rather
right,
than empty stress, through like TV or here he said ejaculation as men often do. So what we're seeing with our young people, well, people, I'm not just going to say young people because again, it's some of us out there
yep, yep,
with gray hair
absolutely,
that's doing the same thing. Yep, Jamel said social media. They finding things. Oh man, I did a whole sermon about living in survival mode and how we are all missing something inside, and we're seeking to fill it with things that don't last. And when the thing run out, we try to fill it with something else and keep going and keep going and keep going instead of filling it with the thing that'll never go away. I'll put that
yep,
sermon out there one day if y'all want to hear it. But um, but this is what a lot of men are doing these days. We trying to fill ourselves with stuff instead of making it an outward push, instead of fighting battles.
right,
Instead of fighting battles so we can empty ourselves, we sitting around the house chilling. We not reading books. We're not trying to improve ourselves. Constant improvement. So Damon, you remember that constant improvement. Not doing that. We just sitting and we just letting ourselves get bloated and slow. And we don't even have an edge. Fritz says, see, this part makes sense to me about women. Yeah, they just function different. So that's
yeah,
what we were saying earlier about when you pour out everything you have, they're going to be there to receive it and it filled them
hmm
up. And that's the healthy dynamic. That's what I like about this book, because it ain't the same, the same old, oh, it's all his fault or it's all her fault. He's telling
Right.
you how to work together.
Yep.
And since you the leader, you got to facilitate it. I was telling my son, we on duty 24/7. You When you the head of a household or something, you don't have an off day.
Nope.
It ain't never a time when you off. It ain't never a time when you ain't got to make a decision, because they're gonna be looking to you. And there ain't never a time when you gonna have people you responsible for. That's a job you won't never clock out of. So you might as well make it you where it's not a job, because it's just me.
Huh. You're right on that one. But how does he close this chapter up, Doc?
Um, he says, in the end, feminine search for love and a masculine search for freedom, and he reached the same destination.
Mm.
So he says that until you finally relax into the place you always are, your woman will continue to surrender to you, chocolate, and shopping, in the hopes of being filled with love. And you will continue to release yourself through television, orgasm, and financial success, in the hope of being emptied of stress into unconstrained freedom. So we always chasing freedom, and they're always seeking to be filled with something to fill up their time and they feelings and emotions. Jamel said, no days off. You know it. We
Nope.
No, I tell my son that right now. You don't get to take a time out.
Nope.
You don't. Your time out is when you go in the bathroom and sit on the toilet.
Strangely, that can be the only time of peace for a man.
That's your time out. And look, Fritz, you might have missed that one, but he talked about that earlier in the book too. If you don't lead, the masculine role is taken over by the woman. Not good.
Yep.
Yeah. So we do it to ourselves. All right, man.
So
Any
what's the
closing
next
thoughts
chapter,
on
Doc?
that one?
I think we worked that out pretty good, man. Find your freedom, fellas.
Man, that was big, man. That was big. Yep, Fritz says 24/7 job. All right. Chapter 36. It says, own your own darkest desires. Now,
Woo!
this one, there's some stuff here. It's some stuff here. All right, Fritz, we'll see you, man. We still got a couple more to go. We're gonna probably hit one or two more if we got time. But at least one more. But own your own darkest desires. And I think, yeah, we need to get into this, because I always tend, like, he put an idea out there,
Right.
but I try to look past it and relate it to something else that relate closer to me.
Okay.
And I've seen a lot of things that this is convicting too. But let's go ahead and talk about it. He says, if a man disown his dark masculine desire for freedom, then he kinks the holes of his masculine force. His energy will not flow freely, and his attention will be bound by unfulfilled yearnings. If his holes is kinked in this way, he weakens his masculine capacity to stand fearless in the death that is conscious life. He will not be able to face the unknown. Yeah. So if you keep denying that you want to battle,
Yeah, you're gonna lose. You're gonna really lose if you keep you at some point to progress from level to level in life, which is what we're all trying to do. You have to be honest with yourself. You
mhm,
may you may be able to fake it through high school. You may be able to fake it through college. You may be able to fake it through the first few years in your career. But at some point, for you to what your boy said on the last dragon, for you to reach the final level,
when you got that glow,
yeah, for you to get the glow, you're gonna have to face yourself
yeah.
sooner or later. The good parts and the bad, because we
But
all got it.
I like what he said about you will not be able to face the unknown. If it remind me of what they used to say about playing football, playing scared.
Mm-hmm.
If you play scared, you get hurt.
Yep.
And that's what life is. If you play scared, you get hurt. You get
You're gonna get hurt.
So you can't be scared to do stuff. You can't be scared to go outside of your box. Like, you know what? It's seven people on here now. Y'all not scared. because it's a lot of people that see a book study up here and they be like, oh man, I ain't messing with that. I don't read no books.
Right.
I don't do
I
that.
don't know. I ain't read no books. And look, I was one of them. I know for me, it had been before I started recently in the last couple of years reading books. It had been probably 10 years more since I read a book. The last book I read before these books was The Art of War, and I know it was at least 10 years since the last time I read it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we can't be afraid to try new things and to go out. Um, I mean, we can do anything. You know, the only thing that separate us is a couple of things that separate us from the people that we admire and the people who we want to be like and the people who we think are superior to us. And here are the things that separate us from that. Number one, they tried it and we didn't.
Yep.
Number two, the length of time you spend around the thing. The
Yep.
more time you spend doing something, the better you get. You said that earlier too about the 100 hours. 100
Yep.
hours on something, you become an expert at it. The more time you spend reading books, the more time you spend talking about books, the better you get at understanding books and understanding things. But we just got to get past that first part. Um, yeah, and OG say I'm scared of taking some risks. You know, brother, me too. I ain't much gonna lie. Me too.
We all are. We all are. We all have. We all again. That's what he said. Find your edge. We all have an edge that we are, and the trick is to push past it, just a little bit past it, every so often, to keep ourselves going and to keep finding our new edge. And that's just a part of life, man. And some of us are gung ho in certain arenas and scared, timid as a mouse in others.
Ooh, I had to give you the horn there because that's me. That was me too. Um, because it's a lot of stuff that I don't do. And you know what I'm gonna tell you what it looks like. This is what fear looks like. The fear of failure and the fear of success. Two kinds of fear that we deal with. Everybody knows about the fear of failure because you think you're not going to be good enough to do it. But nobody talk about the fear of success. And what that is that you might just do it.
Yep.
And now you got this attention on you. And now you got this other stuff. I'm gonna tell you what fear of success look like. Procrastination.
Mm.
Fear of success look like this. It looked like researching stuff but never moving on it. That's the fear of success. And I was real bad at that. Still am to some degree, but that's some things we have to overcome. What we got here? Fear is actually temporary if you go running into it. Otherwise, it lives in your head without paying rent.
Yep.
Listen, let me tell y'all something about Fritz Wolf. This dude here, Fritz, after all he done been through in life and what he'd overcome, he not scared of anything. He the smallest dude anywhere. Wherever he go, he gonna be the smallest dude, but he got the biggest heart and the biggest everything. I'm telling you. So it's like him to say that. Because Fritz is the truth.
Uh.
Oh.
Yep. There it is. That's why we here.
Bro, this is what we talked about earlier. Right here.
Yep.
Remember this. Remember this. Right there. Take a risk with a team and you never. I'm gonna copy that down because that's gonna be the slogan right there.
Yep.
Yep, that's the slogan right there.
That's it. Yep. That's it right there.
That's the slogan right there.
That's it. We got him.
Oh man. Yep, Fritz says not easy. No, it's not. But I guess look, when you just stared cancer down and overcame that, to me, everything you do is easy. And Jamel said they call it imposter syndrome. Yep. That's what it is. That is exactly what it is. But so here's the part for me that was convicting. Let me see where he said it at. Because he talks about losing control of yourself.
Yep.
If you're like most men, he said, if you're like most men, you're willing to lose yourself in controllable ways like sports, newspaper, things you can control, but remain fearful of losing yourself for real. We always try to remain in control. That's what I do. That's exactly what but at some point we have to let it go. And being who I am and what I do, and this is the church part of me when they say let go and let God. This is
Mm-hmm.
some things you have to let go of because you can't control everything. You can't. I ain't seen near a person tell the sun when to rise
Nope.
because they feel like getting up early. Oh, it need to rise at 4 o'clock this morning because I want to get up early and I can get off early. Ain't near a person on the planet can say that. Some stuff you just got to let be what it be.
Yep.
And you just cause you can't, it's stuff that's out of your box. The only thing that you can control is you. That's it. You can't change other people. You can only change yourself.
Yep.
But that's the thing. So we got to let that part go. The control part, that was the convicting part for me. That self-control.
And this goes back to things we talked about before, self-mastery and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think a lot of us, I don't want to say we have control issues, but if we don't, we have a fear of being out of control.
I know I do.
And it could just be a small thing like you could like for example, all of us we work for, if you work for somebody else, you don't really have no control of whether or not you got a job tomorrow.
OG. It never stopped me from telling the son to go back to sleep.
Been there, definitely been there before. When you thought you was gonna sleep in.
It's time to get on up.
Yep.
but you're right though, man. I mean, that's the big part, man. What Fritz said here. Once you realize that there are more things that you cannot control and focus on what you can control, your mind slows down from racing all the time.
Yep. Isn't that the Serenity Prayer? Uh,
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Grant me
you know,
the something to the things that I can control and not. Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And the
And
wisdom to know the difference.
yes. Yes. But that's it. The self-control. Now he talks about here about he makes a lot of parallels with being with your woman and controlling yourself with that. And he said you shouldn't control yourself, but you got to let you be you until y'all get to a point to where you you're doing all of these dark things in love because that's what she kind of wants you to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like giving up that control of self. But we just kind of related it to everything else out in the world too, to try to span it all, to make it, we all can relate to the way he said it. But also I want to try to get us to start looking at this from different angles too, at the other parts of our lives. So we don't, what do you say, disassociate ourselves.
We can definitely do that quite easy.
And we gotta,
We
and
got
you
it.
see, gotta learn to let go.
Yeah. Can't control everything.
No, and I mean, it's that what keeps us in bondage.
Mm.
We keep ourselves in bondage regularly because we try to control it all, because we won't move because things not where we want it to be.
Mm.
I can't do this thing because I don't have enough money.
Right.
We trying to control all that, and we're not powerful enough to do that. We know we powerful enough to do nothing.
Mm.
We can get up in the morning, and y'all know me, it's by the grace of God we get up every morning, but all we can do is take care of this old body that we've been gifted. We can wash it off and try to exercise and feed it. That's what we got control over. Do that.
I think we have to recognize the difference between control
Mhm.
and influence.
Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
We can influence a lot of the things around us and in our realm, but we can only control ourselves. And I think sometimes we mistake our influence for our control.
That's strong. That is strong. I think back to that sphere of influence. You know, um, I made that this three-dimensional family change model, and I think this
Right, right,
predicated this. And we can influence people around that's close to us. We have an influence on people that's close to us, like you saying. We can't change it, but we can influence them. And how do you do
right,
that? By changing yourself. And that's why we having all these book studies and stuff, so we can go and change the people that's around us. We can help make our wives and significant others better. We can make our children better because we
right,
doing better.
right.
So Jamel said, I think it also helps that as a community, we don't feel like we have a safety net in case things didn't go well as quickly as we hoped.
That's true.
Yeah, you're right. Fritz said the key to letting go is practicing it every minute of every day. Don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to let things go and think that's how it works. Trust me, I try.
I
And that's
bet.
true. That is true. So I'll say this: start with something small. Things that you have to find something that you holding on to that you can let go of. One small thing. It could be something small. I'm talking about like I don't know what time you get up or something. You holding on to getting up at 7 o'clock because you like to sleep in a little bit. Well, get up a little earlier to change up. Do something
Yeah.
small like that. Practice on little things that's non-destructive.
I think a lot of the stuff in the last chapter and this chapter
Mm,
kind of give me thoughts on something Eric Thomas said. And he said you have to be willing to give up who you are for what you want to become. And I think this goes into all that, as far as the being afraid to take a risk, trying to, be in control of the things around you. You have to be willing to give those things up at some point
mhm.
to take another step forward in the direction you want to go. Because if who you currently are, and if the way you currently did things were going to get you there, you'd already be there.
And I think those things we think that the old ways are going to get us to where we want to go, but they only designed to get us to the next stop.
Right.
We do have to change, and we have to let go of the self control, even you know controlling self. Like trying to restrain yourself and hold yourself in a certain thing. That's what I'm battling. I'm gonna tell y'all, I came to a lot of conclusions in the past maybe 2 weeks. Um, at the control I've been trying to have over my life and things I've been doing. I've been trying to keep all the parts of me separate, but they all still me.
Hmm.
So I can't keep separating them because it only dilutes who I am.
Mm.
But that's the self-control part of it. And I think I realized that a couple weeks ago. My wife asked me what I wanted for Christmas, and I told her some crazy stuff. And Fritz, I was supposed to show you the gift. So I ain't gonna tell you no lie, y'all. Them Joker bought me some Legos. I asked them for Legos and they brought me Legos. No lie.
You asked for it.
I know. Look at this. Well, I got the whole Infinity Gauntlet right with the figures that work. Got two of them actually. Add to the shelf. But but it was
I
through
see you
that.
put it together though.
Oh, I sure did. You go the other one right here. Yeah. Oh, I was on it. I sure did. I enjoyed myself too. But that's where I was like, why am I separating myself? Oh, I know she asked you, Fritz. I was supposed to show you that. But that's why I got to the point like, why am I separating myself? Just be me.
Yeah.
So, but that was my own battle that relates to what this part is. So, y'all think about what things are you still trying to control in your life that's keeping you from growing and being who you really are? Are you only letting out pieces of yourself? Or are you
Mm.
covering up all of yourself and what you putting out there not really you? You don't think about it. You ain't got to say nothing. You ain't got to type nothing. But I want y'all to think about that.
And I, honest to God, I think a lot of us will only ever know parts of the next person.
Mhm.
And some of us will only ever know and show the world parts of ourselves. And in that, we're shorting ourselves and the world with something that could be great.
Well, but this is the issue that I had with that, personally. Yeah, we talking about showing stuff to other people, but what about who we show to ourselves?
Yeah,
That's the big thing I want to hit on because you hide from your own self. It's a lot of stuff that we refuse to accept about ourselves, and
yeah,
we push it to the side for one reason or another. And most of it, and I'm not talking. Okay, I mean, yeah, if you're a serial killer and you keep pushing that to the side, bro, keep on doing that. but but
we appreciate you.
yeah, please, please. But if you're a dude who like Legos and stuff like that, okay, fine. You know what? Some people hide the nerd that they have. I know Jamel don't because he be on the nerd show every week, and I don't. But you know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that, or somebody that can really be a nice guy, but they keep burying it and hiding it, or they can be
Yeah,
really loving towards somebody, but they're afraid of what somebody else gonna do. You ever heard somebody? Oh man, I'm getting on another soapbox, but I'm gonna go ahead and get on and jump off real fast. Um, don't y'all don't be talking about cutting people off and talking about haters this year. Don't do that. Because what that is it shows that you are more concerned with other people than yourself.
mm,
Because guess what? And your whole thing, you say, I'm cutting off the haters, or you always talking about haters. Everything you just said was about somebody else. Don't do that. Make stuff that's coming up in our group, mastermind group coming. Damn, I wasn't supposed to say that yet. Jamel said, I'm 100% me all the time, and it causes me issues sometimes. Yeah.
I'd rather have an issue being me than an issue being somebody else.
Well, you know what? You just got to be prepared. You know what come with that, and you just got to be prepared to deal with whatever come out of it. However you choose to be you, however you is. Fritz say his is overthinking. Yep, that was my fear of success right there. And he said, "Yep, it's like an addiction." You know about those Legos and that nerd stuff. Damien said Naruto nine tails coming out a little at a time because he's too awesome, and my fear to fly keeps him in. Yeah, hey, yes, Karama. Karama in there. Fritz said, I literally have to put a mental block in my head and find something to shift my mind away from it.
Mm.
Remember, someone cannot fight with you if you walk away. Let them argue with themselves. Yep. There you go. There you go.
Let them argue with
Man,
themselves. And they'll argue with themselves too, but it won't take none of your energy.
man, look, do what I do. Hit the mute button on them. Act like y'all on StreamYard. Mute.
Get on out of there.
Hey, let them tails free. All all nine of them. Hey, when he got four of them, it was bad. All right, man. Let's go ahead. You want to hit up this last one, or you want to call it?
We're gonna call it, man. We'll come back next week on that last one.
Oh, that'll work, man. It was good. Those other two that first chapter we did was that was necessary.
Yes, sir.
That
Yes, sir.
was both of
Part
them, man.
five is definitely some soul searching going on.
Hmm.
You
And I'm
know.
still
And,
doing it.
oh yeah, that's one thing about this book. You can come back and read this book every 3 or 4 years, and you're gonna find something else that you can apply from it.
So, all right, listen, this is what we was before we sign off. Everybody that's on is 7 people on here now. Y'all listen to this. So this is what I'm working on for the new year. Me and Jason the Lion may have this going on. I'm working out the details now, but I just ran it past him and he agreed. One thing we do at the beginning of every year, everybody say, you know, you got to set goals for yourself or make resolutions or whatever it is. So this is the idea that I had. I want to start a mastermind group. And this is how it'll work. What mastermind group is a group of people get together, they meet up and they talk about what they going through, what's happening, and they help each other solve it. So how does that relate to the goals? So you set a goal for yourself like me. Okay, what I want to do next year is finish writing a book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the group. Let's say all 7 people is on here. And everybody come up with a thing they want to do. I'm going to say keep it small, like maybe 3 things or 1 thing, 2, whatever you think of. If you can't think of nothing to come to the group, we may end up talking and you decide, oh, I want to do that too. But so I'm going to come to the group and say, okay, y'all, I want to write a book. This is my plan. This is what I got, blah, 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 blah. Then y'all will help me formulate steps to achieve that goal. And then on the next meeting is your turn. So then you will say, okay, I want to learn Spanish. Then what I'm going to do? Oh, I got some ideas to help you learn Spanish. Try this, try this, try this, try this. And so everybody get their turn to go. We all help each other build up our own goals. Then once we get that part set, what we do? We meet and we check each other's progress. We keep each other on track. So I'm going to log in and y'all say, Doc, where you at with the book, man? And I'm gonna be like, man, I ain't had time to write nothing. And then y'all gonna get on me like, no, bro, you got to get on this book. You want but instead of saying you just got to get, you can say that, but this is how that evolves. What kept you from doing it? Then I'm gonna have to tell y'all what kept me from doing it. Then y'all help me solve that problem. And then when you want to learn Spanish, okay, man, how many Spanish words you know? Man, I ain't learned nothing but 5. Okay, what kept you from doing it? Well, I had to work, I had to do this, I had to do that. Then we think of solutions together for one another. This is a powerful thing, and that relates to this. That's why I put that comment down that Damien said. Take risks with a team because you're never alone. If we do this, you will not be alone. Whatever you want to do, the goal you set for yourself. If you said, I want to lose 10 pounds this year, well, guess what? We are there. How many pounds you lost this week? None. Why you think you didn't lose pounds? Okay. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Okay. We need to stop eating donuts now. Or you need to walk every day. Then you drink more water. Uh-oh. He said, don't get off to a bad start because I will. Dang, Mr. Help the Cover. That joke will do it too. I don't even know what I've been asking for when I told him that.
Yeah, you know he gonna do it. He gonna do it.
So, but I mean, you know, Jamel said he liked that. I can't put this here, but Mr. Help the Cover, Freddie Brown gave us a thumbs up with the 100 behind it. So I'm serious, man. So I think we can do this. I mean, there's something simple, and it doesn't matter how big it is. For example, you know, Mr. Help the Cover, he may say, I want to open some branches in this other city. Guess what? We may have ideas from that that's outside of the box that he might not even thought of.
Right.
Or we might know people that can help him. So we connect like that. Especially like I got a homeboy right now that specializes in exercise. I'm about to call him up and have him come on the show. Because if we want to lose weight, then we're going to talk to him because he got a whole program. If you want to learn Spanish, you know, we talked about that. I want to write a book. Okay. And maybe y'all will say, okay, tell me what the book about. What's your ideas? Y'all can have me new ideas.
Maybe somebody on here has written a book. Got a process to how to do it.
I mean, it could be improve my credit. Anything. Anything. Anyone know any artists? Yep, I surely do. I do know some artists.
Here we go. We already working. So,
See?
so this is coming. We're gonna try to roll this out next week, now.
Yeah. Yeah. Invested. We can do that too. See what I'm saying? See how this thing is rolling already. We got, yep. Look, we there. So even if we start with just us, we can get in there and we can talk and figure stuff out. So yeah, next week I don't know what day though. It'll have to be on a day like maybe a Wednesday, like late afternoon or something. And
Yeah.
then it don't listen. This will be something that people like we have to get people into. It will not be live streamed.
No.
It will not be. We'll use this platform to see each other and talk, and it records and all that, but it'll be just for the people that participate.
Right.
So it's not for everybody because everybody don't need to know what you're working on.
Right. And yeah, this would be for us to do, and maybe we'll post some ideas and some thoughts in the group later. But this is not. It won't be live stream. About everybody knowing what you're trying to do. It'll be for us amongst ourselves as men.
Yeah. So I got a bunch of mastermind group materials and how to set them up and how to do them. So I got a week, and then I'll let y'all know. I'll put it up in the group. And if you're interested, you just reply to it. Hey, I'm interested. I might make a little video to kind of explain what I'm trying to do, and you can just comment on it that you're interested, or maybe have a little Google sign up sheet or something, and then we can go. Because I think this is the year. We done been down long enough. We done been sitting at the bottom of the barrel long enough. We done been trying to figure stuff out long enough, and we done been working by ourselves long enough. There's too many people around here for us to keep doing this.
Right.
So we will stop today, and we
There it is.
all gonna come up today. I'm vowing that, so I'm putting that on my list. It's done.
There it is.
All right,
So that
that's
being
it.
said, that's the idea. We gonna hash it out, pound it out, and get it organized and ready to go by early next week. We'll post in the group the day and the time. Be on the lookout. We'll probably talk about it on Saturday a little bit more. We're gonna try to do the show Saturday. It's the holidays, so we know folks got things going on. We will try to do the show Saturday, and we'll talk about this some more. But other than that, man, we want to appreciate y'all for coming and joining us, hanging in there with us the whole program. We getting deep into the book now. We ain't got that much left, so just stay with us. We're gonna keep covering these hard pressing topics. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We out.
Peace.